I've been scared to do this video, guys. Like, after ranking and explaining every chapter in Fortnite, I knew I set myself up for impending doom with this type of content. But here we are. How's it going, everyone? It's TrulyMystic, and in today's video, we are going to be ranking and explaining every single season in Fortnite. That's right, we are going to be going over all 34 seasons in Fortnite, all the way from Season 1 to Chapter 6, Season 2. Yes, that's also going to be on the list, even though it's still going on. I'm gonna try my best to condense this as best as I can, and so for a lot of these seasons I'm just going to kind of briefly talk about them and quickly get through them because I don't want this to be a 1 hour or even a 45-minute video. That's just way too much. So, some ground rules first. As always in these types of videos, these are my opinions, but they don't come from biasy. There's a teeny tiny bit of biasy in there, but mainly for the most part, 99%, it's what I believe without the nostalgia lenses. It's also taking into account what the community believes and how they feel about certain seasons. So if a community feels very, very good about a certain season, it's probably not going to be all the way in last because I personally hate it. You know, I'm taking everything into account, but at the end of the day, this is going to be my opinion. So as always, if you have your opinions on certain rankings or where I place seasons in the list, please let me know in the comment section down below. I love to hear it from you guys. Seriously, if you think that Primal is your favorite season of all time, I want to hear it. I genuinely want to hear your reasoning. So please, all I ask is that we keep it friendly and respectful. Now, if you're new here, hi, it's TrulyMystic. Nice to meet you. In these type of videos, I basically rank these from worst to best and briefly explain them so you even get a little bit of lore and a Fortnite history lesson. The criteria for a season being low or high for this video will basically take into account a few things such as gameplay, loot pool, battle pass, story, map changes, updates, so on and so forth. If a season has a really solid battle pass, but everything about it is trash, that's gonna be a terrible season. The battle pass ain't saving it. Or vice versa. If a battle pass is terrible, but everything else carries it, it's probably gonna be pretty high up. Now, not every season on this list is going to take all the rules seriously. If a battle pass was mid or the gameplay was alright, I might not even talk about it that much. But what does matter is the stuff that I do talk about, and I will justify my reasoning for why I put these seasons in their particular ranking. And so, with all that out of the way, let's get straight into today's video on again ranking and explaining every single season in Fortnite. Here we go. So, coming in at our 34th entry, all the way at last place. This might come to a surprise for some of you, but personally, this is going to have to be Chapter 3, Season 4, Paradise. There could be a couple of you already shaking your fists, but please just hear me out from this point onwards. Now, to briefly explain what happened in this season, basically the Herald wanted to destroy the island, I guess, and all the 7 members were instantly wiped out. Yeah, bye-bye scientists, bye-bye all these fan favorite characters that we built up for so long, and the last one who was left was Paradigm. She basically left us, and the chrome ended up spreading around the entire map, eventually consuming it all the way to its death. That's like the Spark Notes version. I am no Fortnite lore expert, but I'd say that's pretty damn good and pretty much sums it up. So why is this season ranked so low? The chrome, I hated it. It's ugly, it feels boring, I don't want that on my map. Get it away from me. In my opinion, I think it was pretty lazy coming from Epic to just slap that and call it one of the major driving points for this season. Brie Larson as Paradigm felt really off. I know The Rock was casted as Foundation, but that was kind of cool for like that one scene where we saw him do the eyebrow thing. When they casted Brie Larson as Paradigm, I was like, no bro, we're not gonna continue this. Overall, the gameplay felt extremely dry this season, and the only memorable thing that's even noteworthy to mention that I know for a fact was added in this season was the goo gun. That's like all I can think of. Literally, I can't even remember anything else from this season because this season was so extremely dry. Not to mention it had the worst live event in history, sitting around for 15 minutes doing nothing and eventually leading up to a big ass cutscene. That was just a slap in the face. Battle Pass was also kind of trash, and you can imagine why I put this all the way at the very bottom of the list. But now we move on to our 33rd entry, and now after you hear this, it'll make a lot of sense as to why I put this at this particular spot. We have Chapter 2, Season 6, Primal. What happened in this season? Basically, the Foundation sealed himself at the Spire. Jones went into hiding, disappeared, and the island somehow turned primal. Ladies and gentlemen, I know this is a lot of your guys' worst season for Fortnite. But yeah, I do hate Chapter 3 Season 4 a bit more than Primal. And let me tell you why. The only thing that I found great about Primal was the concept. The way it was handled wasn't good. The gameplay was slow. Crafting was not it. The fact that you have to craft your weapons was just so stupid. It wastes time in the game. I don't want to be looting and then having to make my weapons mid-match. I want to already earn those weapons either by eliminating other players or by constantly looting chests. It's just collecting all these different parts that you need to craft, and knowing the recipes was just such a waste of time. And all the primal weapons just felt super clunky. The wildlife was extremely annoying. The raptors, I hated going up against them. And even the wolves and freaking frogs, bro. The freaking frogs. Like, yeah, bro, I just wasn't a fan of all these things being in Fortnite. Like, the game already felt so cluttered with NPCs and everything that was happening with the map and clunky ass gameplay. The last thing I wanted was an animal to start rushing my box and farm chickens for heals. The updates were also extremely dry this season as well and felt very, no pun intended, bare bones. I'm gonna be honest, I spent a lot of this season playing creative mode, and yeah, I just didn't like it too much, and that's why I put it at 33. Now, coming in at our number 32 entry, we have Chapter 2, Season 8, Cubed. The Cubes and the Cube Fiends took over the island after the mothership crashed. Eventually, the Cube Queen arrived, and we defeated her in the live event. This was the final season of Chapter 2, and I think a lot of us didn't know that at this time. Fiends in Fortnite kind of annoy me, so that's why the season sits pretty low. I think Fiends annoy a lot of people. Upgrading the sideways weapons felt tedious. Yeah, again with the Chapter 6 crafting, but a little different because you're side grading weapons. Like, okay, it's still kind of the same thing. The random bosses hindering gameplay, bro. You're just minding your own business and a random boss comes out of nowhere and starts attacking you. Sometimes you don't even want to be in the fight. You don't want to fight this NPC, but they're just in the way, and combine that with the fiends, it's like torture. Now, I will say that there is a little bit of a saving grace for this season, and that's the Naruto collab. Your boy is a big fan of Naruto, the GOAT. Naruto, Uzumaki himself, Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke arrived in this season, but I can't take that too much into consideration. It's not fair. It's not fair for a lot of the other seasons. However, it was the first ever anime collab, so that's something. Come on, it has to get a bit of a point there. I mean, honestly, the saving grace for this season was the live event. At least that was pretty cool. The whole flipping thing, yeah, that was kind of awesome, dare I say. And thinking back on gameplay, like, it was I mean, even the Naruto mythic was kind of buns. But the scythe was pretty cool. One of my favorite melee weapons in the game. Probably not my favorite, but one of my favorites. But yeah, just other than that, Chapter 2 Season 8 is going to be ranked pretty low here at number 32. And it is what it is, you know. Moving on to 31, we have Chapter 5, Season 2, Myths and Mortals. A lot of you probably figured that Chapter 5 seasons were going to be ranked pretty low, and boy, I have a surprise for you later on in this list. But Myths and Mortals is my least favorite Chapter 5 season. What happened? The gods came out of Pandora's box, you know, Zeus, Hades, all that, and took over the island. Midas also returned at some point as well, so hooray for Midas. Honestly, it was an amazing concept, but we can't rank concepts high because, bro, if the execution was bad, why even talk about it? I will say that the mythics were fun this season. The lightning bolt, throw it down on people and strike them, was super cool until they started nerfing it. Avatar collab kind of took over the season for a bit, which was a little dumb. And there were a lot of terrible decisions from Epic during this season. Locker changes with rarity, age restriction, the item shop, etc. The story was okay, and I think that the skins were pretty good. So, I mean, there's that. But for the most part, Chapter 5 Season 2 is just trash. It had something going for it, it really did, and at the very beginning of the season, it felt like it was going to go insane, but it left a lot to be desired. I was expecting way more mythics from the gods, but all we got was a banana and the chains of Hades, which are cool, they're appreciated, but how are you going to give us a mythic thunderbolt from Zeus himself on launch and nothing else? I even think that in the leaks for this season there was going to be some sort of fire hammer or something like that, but I guess that never got added or was scrapped, and it just really disappointed because I expected way more from this season. Anyways, that's why it ranks this low. Let's move on to number 30. Coming in at number 30, we have Chapter 3, Season 2, Resistance. Jones and the island went to war with Sloan and the IO. Paradigm returned with the mecha team leader, that was pretty cool, and fought against the IO in the live event. Peely also helped out a little bit. Honestly, this season was somehow slightly underrated and boring at the same time. A little weird to say, but let me explain. The war theme did feel lazy, and it also felt like a way for Epic to just destroy stuff on the map. But this season did introduce an amazing mode that people still love to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, say it with me now, Zero Build. Absolute game changer. This was actually permanently put onto the island for a little bit on launch until they came out with the game mode. So you have to give them props for that. But other than that, that's kinda it. The content had a lot of potential, but ultimately fell short. Tanks, anvil launchers, all sound cool, looked cool, but underperformed. And overall, I just think this season was okay at best. Moving on to number 29, we have Chapter 3, Season 3, Vibin'. After the war, the island went to peace and celebrated. All seemed good, or so we thought, as the Herald was plotting our demise the entire time. Wow, how did we not notice? Season was a bit of a snooze, not gonna lie. Not as boring with the playfulness and summer vibes. Thought that was a little cool, a little quirky from Epic. Enjoyed it a little bit, but ultimately the content did feel dry. Wasn't that bad, just kind of dry. Baller nerfs were sad to see. In this season they started using energy for them, and I feel like this started a trend with Epic nerfing vehicles and then over time eventually adding durability to weapons and stuff like that, and I just want the OG baller, dude. No energy. Decent battle pass, I will say. Eve or Evie, whatever her name was a pretty cool scan, and I mean, yeah, it's just one of those seasons that kind of sits there, you know? Not a lot of people talk about it, which is why it could potentially be an underrated season, but there's really nothing I can say that's amazing about it, nor bad about it. So that's why it sits at number 29. Let's move on. Coming in at number 28, this may or may not shock a lot of you, but this is Season 1. That's right, Chapter 1, Season 1. No story, just a battle royale island made for 100 players to fight in and become number 1. It's simple. Probably the most dry season of Chapter 1 though, for being real. However, because of its simplicity, it worked. And it's why it popped off and made Fortnite what it is today. I mean, well, a bunch of other seasons did that, but Season 1 was the starting point. It's easy to remember, the locations are iconic, and the loot pool made for fun gameplay. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. We recently got it in Fortnite OG, and we did realize again that, yeah, this season is just a little dry, a little boring. But it was alright, not that bad. Moving on to number 27, we have Season 2. Yes, literally one season after Season 1 is the number 27th entry, Season 2. Still, not really a story happening here, but there is a theme with knights. kind of the same thing. It still felt dry like season 1, maybe not as dry. Consistent updates, communication from the devs, love that, and a more solidified version of season 1. This was the season that introduced tilted towers, shifty shafts, junk junction, all that. You gotta give them props for that, and that's obviously why it is a better version than season 1. We also played it in Fortnite OG, and yeah, it is a slightly better version than season 1. I think it's also where we should have started from in Fortnite OG the game. Now, coming in at number 26, I'm going to have to put Chapter 4, Season 3, Wilds.
You think you're the king? I'm the king!
Yes, our first Chapter 4 entry, we have the season that is the one to be known as the worst season from Chapter 4 for many. Here, there was a hidden jungle that was revealed, and it turned a chunk of the island into a tropical rainforest. Optimus Prime was giving us missions, and Sloan was revealed to have switched sides. However, there was some sort of threat approaching the island, and that's kind of it. It wasn't made 100% clear what exactly the threat was, and we never knew what the threat was 100%, but it could be implied that the island was destroying or Kendo Thorn was coming. A little bit hazy there, Epic. This was a somewhat fun season. Pass? Definitely not one of my favorites. Also, the weakest out of his chapter, like I said. And can we just talk about the cloak item? No, you know what? We're not going to talk about it because it was buns. The jungle was annoying to navigate through, being that it was in the center of the map. And I will have to put it this low because the story did kind of take a bit of a chill pill, which is not bad. It just didn't really do a whole lot. And I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to take that into consideration, especially with everything else you have going on. It's just rather lackluster. JJK Mythics also came out during this season, and I am a big fan of JJK, but it sucks because I wasn't a fan of it when this got released. So sorry, you're sitting in number 26. Now, coming in at number 25, we have Chapter 5, Season 4, Doom.
Mic check.
After foiling Megalodon's plans, Dr. Doom came and established his base on the island. Jones and Hope, with the help of the island inhabitants and some Marvel heroes, fight against Doom and the rest of the villains to protect the island. Damn, that sounds like a whole comic series. I would actually read that. Problem with this season is that it's another Marvel season. A lot of people don't like collab seasons. We are getting a collab season next season, but it's just not a lot of people's favorites. This was also an extremely overhyped season. A lot of people were expecting it to be like Chapter 2 Season 4, which kind of gives you a hint as to where I'm going to rank that season. And a lot of the mythics felt relatively weak compared to, again, what we got in Chapter 2 Season 4. Doom rifting at the end of the live event was pretty anticlimactic. We don't really know what he's doing now. And overall, I just think that this season had a lot of potential that Epic never really used. Why was the Fantastic Four all defeated and captured? We didn't even get skins for them. Mephisto was probably a bit overhyped from the community. He was just an item shop skin and an NPC that gave you life in the underworld. I just think that so much more could have happened this season, but it just really felt short a lot of the times. It definitely wasn't a bad season, but Epic really fumbled this one. Now, coming in hot at our 24 entry, we got Chapter 6, Season 2. Yes, our first Chapter 6 entry, and it is the season we are currently in at the time of making this video. Deal with it. That's the tagline. Deal with it. Okay. Fletcher Kane starts running the island, Midas returns again, and crime runs amok. It's kind of where we're at so far. Honestly, yes, it isn't fair to really rank this with all the other seasons again because we are still in it, but I think this is a pretty good spot for it. It sits somewhere in between the midpoint, and I just think that we still have so much more to go through, so we could really make a final gauge as to where we could put this at the end of the season. But for now, I think 24 isn't a bad entry. It's a recycled theme, you know, we've had this similar theme before a handful of times, but it works. Story feels a bit all over the place. I think there's a little too much going on, a little too much randomness, but it's somewhat working. There's good updates, like the mobility is really good this season. I also love the gameplay. Dilbit currency is weird, but it works and it gives us really cool exotics. And yeah, I just think overall, I think it's fair to rank it here. We'll see where it moves further on, but Chapter 6 Season 2, you ain't half bad. Now, coming in at our 23rd entry, we have Chapter 5 Season 1, Underground. Jones returns and with a new partner, Hope. Society led by Hope's sister, Valeria, captures Peely. Jones and Hope attempt to rescue him on the new Chapter 5 island. Easy and fun story to follow. Already saying that just sounds like a lot of fun, and you're gonna go through adventures, you're gonna train hop. Hell, there was a train on the Chapter 5 Season 1 map that went around. That was new at the time. Brought the metaverse though. That's what sinks it this low. Still though, new core modes, Festival, Lego, Rocket Racing, and Reload, but the metaverse. I could already hear you guys cringing. No one likes the Fortnite metaverse. But other than that, it was a pretty playable season. You can't say that about many others. New movement, graphics, and bullet drop-off really made it a miss for a lot of players, and it sucked that we had to deal with this for the rest of the chapter. But it had a pretty solid battle pass, and the content was nice. Honestly though, Chapter 5 Season 1 was a pretty good season. I did enjoy it a lot and played a ton of ranked. Spots are memorable: Lavish Lair, Rebel's Roost, Grand Glacier, Peter Griffin. The medallions were also kind of fun. And yeah, I just think that this was a way better season than some of the other Chapter 5 seasons. But we'll get to the real best Chapter 5 season soon enough. Crazy, I know. Coming in at our number 22 entry, we have Chapter 2, Season 5, 0 Point. Jones assembles a team of bounty hunters from different realities to protect the island and 0 Point. This was kind of a banger season. Kind of. The biggest selling point for this one obviously was the amount of collabs. We got a ton of them. Sand tunneling was also introduced, although the feature didn't really work out too well. Exotic rarity was introduced for the first time, bringing a twist onto classic weapons. It also introduced the gold system, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but is a widely used system that is still incorporated into the game to this day. And overall, I can say that there really wasn't a whole lot of bad with this season. Even the collaborations played a part in the story. Gameplay was pretty fun, and I gotta say, I somewhat enjoyed it. Even though this started the teasing of bringing back Tilted Tower. Damn. But now, moving forward to our 21st entry, we have Chapter 2, Season 4. Nexus War. Marvel heroes come together to stop Galactus from consuming the 0 Point, and oh my gosh, it's peak, it's peak. Yes, this was the first ever full collab season. A lot of people didn't like it because of that. And some negatives: the battle pass did gatekeep a lot of the cosmetics, which is why it sits at this ranking. Takes a pretty heavy toll, but on a good season. Listen, the mythics were fun and they were powerful. They weren't like those puny Chapter 4 Season 4 mythics. These were real superhero mythics. You felt the blows when you were going up against them. Constant updates, constant map changes. It felt like every week there was something refreshing to do, and the live event was enjoyable. Ain't that right, Monaco?
I'm not warmed up.
Still though, not fair to rank it in like top 10, but I know there are definitely a lot of you out there that really enjoy this season, so feel free to tell me where you would rank this. But now we move on to our top 20. Coming in at number 20, we have Chapter 4, Season 2, Mega. Mega City was rifted onto the island from another reality. Some battle between syndicates, something. Honestly, didn't really pay too much attention to that. But Attack on Titan came. Attack on Titan. Truly goated season. ODM gear, peak mythic, one of the best mythics ever. Could potentially be the best myth. No, I'll save that. Just you wait. New motorbikes were terrible to drive. The dirt bikes were way better back in Chapter 4 Season 1. These sucked, bro. They still suck. Kinetic Blade was top tier mobility. I could even remember a handful of memes coming from this freaking blade. It's so good. Content updates were alright, and pretty good battle pass. A little bit of a negative here though, Mega City did feel pretty hollow, but visually it was stunning. You know, just sometimes you would drop into it, and I even remember the first time I dropped into it, expecting to see so much within the buildings, just to turn out that a lot of it is just boxes that you can't break. There's barely a lot of rooms in Mega City, just tall structures. But there were other spots on the map too relating to Japanese culture, and that was certainly a nice treat. So that's why I put Chapter 4 Season 2 Mega at the number 20 spot. Coming in at number 19, we have Season 6, Darkness Rising. After submerging in water, Kevin the Cube lifted the island in Loot Lake and roamed the island once more, bringing fiends this time ravaging. The fiends are annoying. That's why I put Chapter 2 Season 8 so low. But this was their first introduction, and I think they were pretty cool the first time. Content updates were awesome. We got the Quad Crasher. Love that vehicle, and I wish we still get it added into the game to this day, but you know they love their cars, so that's not really happening. Breathtaking live event. The Butterfly live event. Oh my gosh, chills. One of the best live events in Fortnite history. Gameplay also felt super different and exciting to what Fortnite was usually doing at the time, and I think that is what they should try to strive for. Yeah, a lot of people aren't gonna like a super foggy map with zombies trying to attack you while you're fighting somebody. I'm not saying they have to do exactly that, but when they change it up or when they make it different is when a lot of people are talking about the game, and it creates for some fun and exhilarating moments. I love those kind of moments, and I hope we get more of this. Not exactly this, but more of something like this in the future. Let's move on. Coming in at number 18, we have Chapter 2 Season 1. Chapter 2 Season 1, after being consumed by the black hole, we were brought to a new island, and Ego versus Alter. These two factions were beefing it out. Still though, everything else was pretty chill. Exciting start to a season, only to fall flat on its face. Jeez, man. It was dragged out for way too long and is probably the longest season of all time. However, it did have fun updates throughout its lifespan and a lot of memorable moments, but they felt a bit sparse. Either way though, this was pretty big as it introduced the start of chapters, and it also gave us a pretty cool swimming mechanic that will be used again and again and again, and for one of my more favorite seasons moving forward in this list. I think that the story was pretty nice. I did enjoy it. And overall, it was pretty chill. Obviously, not top 5, not even top 10, but still pretty good. Moving on to number 17, Chapter 3 Season 1, Flipped. The island you once knew has flipped. Ta-da! After the altercation with the Q Queen, everyone wanted to chill, so the story here was kept at a low. Now this is how you start a chapter and keep it fresh and exciting from start to finish. Introduce the new sliding mechanic. Dynamic gameplay was awesome with the weather conditions. Jeez, I wish they would bring it back. Colombo, best animal in Fortnite. I don't care about any of the other wildlife creatures. Colombo is best animal. Fun and engaging mobility. The Spider-Man gloves, man. Forget about the freaking grapple glove that we have now. The Spider-Man gloves, the OG Spider-Man glove, those were good. And solid battle pass. I cannot complain. Chapter 3 Season 1 was a pretty good season. And you may start to notice that things are only looking brighter from here on out. Coming in at our number 16 spot, we have Chapter 2 Remix. Apparently, all of this was a dream that took us back to the Chapter 2 map with a few twists. That's actually kind of it, I'm pretty sure. Great live event, great gameplay. Didn't bring everything from Chapter 2, not even the first 3 seasons as leaked, but I guess that's okay. Ultimately, it did kind of feel like Chapter 2 Season 2 again, but slightly different. So yeah, not too much to say about this one, but it was pretty fun, it was pretty good, and definitely a fan favorite. Now at number 15, we have Chapter 4, Season 4, Heisted, baby! Kendo Thorne becomes obsessed with artifacts this season, creating a time machine to retrieve them. He makes sanctions around the map with his valuables, and dark secrets linger within him. And then we come on in and we're just like, bro, we want that. Like, you can't have that. We need that, bro. Are we the villains of this season? Like, going into his vault and stealing his stuff? We are genuinely criminal. This is basically Chapter 2 Season 2 if your Pokemon evolved, and you might not be the biggest fan of the evolution, but it is somewhat of an evolution nonetheless. Although if you still want your Chapter 2 Season 2 pre-evolution, you'd keep that Eviolite and you train him up, beef him up, and he's 10 times stronger than Chapter 4 Season 4. Return of the Mythics were peak. Rocket Ram was so much fun. This was an incredible item at this time. Interesting battle pass, to say the least. Cabby Lame, I don't know. Why was he in this season? Does anybody know why he was in? Still though, lots of fun and nice throwback to one of the more popular seasons in Fortnite. Coming in at number 14, we got Chapter 2, Season 7, Invasion. Aliens arrive, Sloan betrays us after invading the mothership, classic Sloan. Explosions cause pieces and cubes to fall onto the island at the end, and that's kinda it. I love the alien theme. This was a fire theme, and I really want them to do it again moving forward, but they love that freaking heist theme, the spy theme, crime, whatever. Can we get aliens again? Can we get something like aliens again, please? Content updates were fun. The UFO nerfs were sad to see, but it was kind of understandable. I mean, damn, you're flying a freaking UFO in Fortnite. That kind of had to be nerfed a little bit. Pretty interesting story, I will say, for this season. I was genuinely keeping up with it. Thought it was pretty interesting. And the live event was epic. Seeing Kevin the Cube return was peak. And just hands up, man. Applaud. This season was pretty good. Now, moving on to our number 13 entry. We have what will probably be the most shocking entry to most of you on this list. I could already probably feel some of you guessing it if you know me, but this is going to be Chapter 5 Season 3 Wreck. Oh my gosh. Okay. Chill, let me talk, chill. Megalodon and his crew takes over the island this season with heavily modified armored vehicles. He also somehow throws a bunch of sand onto the island. Does that ever explain how that happened? I don't know, but who cares? Now, it actually pains me to put this season this low, because I think that it truly could have been so much better. And that is already sounding wild to a lot of you. I know that this is the most controversial season as of recently. I'm probably gonna get so much crap for this, but the reason why I put it this high and why it beat even Chapter 5 Season 1 is because it changed the meta in a fun and thrilling way. This season, especially on launch, was addicting. I loved going in the cars and getting my mods and going around the map and causing mayhem. Damn, I wish we had it back, and I wish we get some sort of plane season or something moving forward, but I just don't think it's gonna happen. The boogie bombs were such a lazy nerf to cars. Dude, why did they add those instead of the freaking EMPs? You had an anvil launcher. Ah! The car nerfs were sad to see. I know it was gonna happen. I know mad people were complaining about it, but bro, like... the mythic car nerfs, those were so sad, bro. The live event was also a bit underwhelming. And then you're probably just like, dude, why is this guy even yapping anymore? This should not even be this high on the list. Dude, you have no clue how good this season was. Guys, trust me, we need another season like this. Not exactly like this, but something like this. Epic did something right this season. And if they can replicate that again, definitely top 5 season. I always said that Chapter 5 Season 3 was gonna be like a top 5, top 3 season for me. Putting it at number 13 was crazy, but 13 is kind of my favorite / lucky number, so that kind of means something. Now, coming in at number 12, better than Chapter 5 Season 3, we got Season 8 from Chapter 1, X marks the spot. The prisoner creates a volcano, bringing a new tropical biome. Pirates arrive on the island. Alien technology is found, whatever. And towards the end, the volcano erupts. Brother, it destroyed Tilted and Retail Row. I'll tell you right now, solid theme, solid season, content updates were great. Story was wacky, but it was interesting, and the live event was great, although it didn't work for a lot of people. But they gave us the free Arcane Glider, so W epic on that part. Season 8 was just an enjoyable season. Think back to the Coral Cruiser music or Fish Stick music, whatever. And yeah, just good old times. Playing Scissors Death Run in creative. Season 8 was fun. It was a fun season, trust. Coming in at number 11 though, we got maybe a slightly controversial one. We'll see. I don't know how you guys feel about this nowadays, but again, coming in at number 11, we have Season X, Out of Time. The 0 point became unstable and it exploded, causing realities and timelines to change the island continuously. The 7 attempt to stop the meteor from hitting the island, ultimately creating a black hole that consumed everything, and we left Chapter 1 for a while. But this was an overhated season. The mechs were fun. I know they were annoying to go up against, But when you had them, you can't lie. Come to me right now. Bro, you can't lie. If you had a mech, you were popping off with it, you were enjoying it. Don't you lie to me. Love the constant game-changing updates. This was a super controversial season. It might even still be, I don't know. I do hear a lot of people talking about it, how it was pretty overhated. But you gotta remember that this was our last time on the Chapter 1 map, and Epic pulled all the stops. Seriously. Story went hard, Battle Pass was cool, even if it was remix skins, and the live event was probably the best in Fortnite history. But even Season X, as crazy of a season that was, can be surpassed by our number 10 entry. We are down to our 10 entries left. We got Season 4, Brace for Impact. After the meteor crashed into Dusty Divot, it left an alien who was later revealed to be the Visitor, a member of the Seven. Eventually, a rift opened up in the sky, caused by the Visitor's rocket. If you played during this time, you remember the feels. But we're not taking nostalgia into consideration. The theme went hard, classic Fortnite with heroes and villains and space stuff, super cool, good content updates, story was fun and easy to follow. Seriously, Epic should take notes from these simpler times of stories just being easy to follow. It makes gameplay engaging and people get more curious and into the game. This also gave us our first ever live event in Fortnite history, and damn, that rocket event was cool. But I had to leave to go to the beach, I think, halfway through. Still saw a bunch of clips on YouTube afterwards. Now we move on to our number 9 entry. We got Chapter 6, Season 1. I know I spoiled it too soon, but yeah, it's Hunters. New map with demons. Hunters take down demons. It's pretty simple. I mean, self-explanatory. Simple story, beautiful map, great updates, and it gave us Fortnite OG again, baby, and Ballistic, which is okay, but Fortnite OG again, baby. Loophole was pretty good, and gameplay was good too. Mini event could have been a bit better, but still cool. I love this season, and that's why it sits at number 9. But now coming in at number 8, we got a fan favorite, a classic. This is going to be Season 5, Worlds Collide. Chapter 1, Season 1, a stranger from another world gets rifted onto the Fortnite island with a bunch of other things, including a new biome. A cube eventually appears that rolls around the map and ends its run by submerging into Loot Lake. Without a shadow of a doubt, Kevin absolutely carried this season. This is how to do an interactive story right. Spray and pray meta was kind of a pain in the ass. Double pump was also gone. That was a bit of a bummer. However, it was a goated battle pass, and we got Drift, and that's sometimes all you need. But seriously, following Drift this season through the loading screens was fun and creative. I think we need a lot more of that nowadays. I love the fan art for Fortnite loading screens or concept art, but the old just rendered wallpapers or images of these characters interacting with each other and doing things was just a nice treat. New desert biome was cool. The golf carts were so much fun. This was basically like our first real vehicle, not including the shopping cart for Fortnite. And the rifts were fun too. Fire season, and that's why it sits at number 8. Coming in at number 7 though, we got something a bit colder. This is going to be Chapter 1, Season 7. You better watch out. An iceberg hits the island, bringing in a whole new biome and the Ice King. Snow covers the map, and the prisoner escapes from Polar Peak. Most festive season in Fortnite, and I love the vibes for it. Introduced creative mode. Do I really have to say more? Creative mode. Boom. Planes brought action-packed battles and fast mobility in the sky. Also a little bit of some flashbacks, but that's neither here or there. Story was a treat. Love following everything with the Ice King and the prisoner eventually escaping. Pre-nerf Infinity Blade was peak. Was it absolutely broken? Yes. But isn't that what a mythic was supposed to be at the time? That is why pre-nerf Infinity Blade is the best mythic, hands down, period. If only there was a way to get it back, because this Infinity Blade that we have now in creative mode is not it. Give me the pre-nerf Infinity Blade back. I promise you I will get a 20 bomb or more. Fiends on the map again were a little bit controversial. Again, I don't know what Fortnite's obsession is with adding zombies onto the map. They only really did it like maybe 3-ish times, but First ever concert live event, Marshmallow. The good days, that was pretty fun. If you attended that, then you're cool in my book. This was also the first season to give out a free battle pass. When was the last time Fortnite gave out a free battle pass? Exactly. And overall, this season is loved by many. It had its fair share of controversy, but it's pretty fun nonetheless. Now coming in at our number 6 entry, we got Season 9. The future is yours. Island undergoes redevelopment after the damage is done from the volcano, and we time skip to a futuristic era with Neo tilted and Mega Maul. The Devourer lurks, and so a mech is built to fight against it. After the battle between the Mecha Team Leader and the Devourer, Mecha Team Leader wins, and resulting obviously in the defeat of the monster, leaving his remains. Singularity and the mech flee the island, leaving the 0 point exposed. What the f was that? Why did they just leave us? Love the futuristic theme this season. World Cup era was peak comp era. You just had to be there, man, for the open qualifiers and all that. It was just a blast. I really hope we get another Fortnite World Cup soon. Fantastic summer event. Jeez Louise, man, you don't get good summer events like this nowadays. The one we recently got was so bad, and I would kill to have something like this again in Fortnite, you know. Had a lot of LTMs too. Loophole this season was great. Gameplay felt fast paced, combat shotgun, all that. Live event was peak, including the build up to it. It was an overall good season, no qualms. But it does get better, because now we're in our top 5. And coming in at number 5 is Chapter 2, Season 2, Top Secret. This is like a top 5 season for most people on their list. Battle between Ghost and Shadow. Midas launches the device to stop the storm, but ends up bringing freaking tsunamis. Bro, Midas, what are you doing, man? There is a reason why this theme is rinsed and repeated. Loot pool was well balanced. Map changes were top notch. A to S tier battle pass, customizable skin, personalized styles. Best concert, live event, Travis Scott. Need I say more? Dragged on for a bit too long, but it is understandable why. Chapter 2 Season 2 is just always probably going to be top 5 favorite seasons for a while. They can keep milking it all they want nowadays, but you just can't beat the original. Maybe they can though. I have hope, but it's going to be tough. But we move on to our number 4 entry because it does get better. We got Chapter 4 Season 1. After the Chapter 3 island was destroyed, Paradigm came in to build a new one. Oh, that's where you were. Sacrificing herself in the process. Damn, now you're gone. A snapshot of Gino, the Ageless, appears to be creating a rift beacon of the new island, falling into his evil side. Good job, Gino. Fortnite graphics perfected this season. Amazing blend of cartoony and realistic. Chapter 6 I think is pretty close, but for some reason I feel like Chapter 4 still did it a bit better. Map had great locations and biomes. Mythics were dope this season, especially that hammer. Woo, give me that hammer back, boy. Loot pool and gameplay was lots of fun. Genuinely, I do think that Chapter 4 Season 1 is one of the more solid seasons. There's not a whole lot of complaints I can say. Fortnite was pretty creative this season, and you gotta remember that Judas theme at the very beginning. Now down to our top 3. Coming in at number 3, we have Chapter 2 Season 3, Splashdown. After Midas's failed plan to stop the storm, tsunamis flooded the island. Over time, the water would slowly lower, constantly changing the flow of the map. Best summer season ever. Water flooding the map was genius and so much fun. Can we get like another flood of the map? Can sand or something, mud? No, okay, damn. Maybe that's why Epic hasn't hired me yet. But seriously, water flooding the map was cool, and I really want them to use something like that again in the future. Maybe not even water, but slime. Okay, no, I don't want them to do a chrome season. Introduce drivable vehicles like the cars, taxis, and the trucks, which was huge at the time. However, this did kind of start moving forward. Cars constantly being added to Fortnite. But technically, that isn't this season's fault. It just introduced it. It really started happening when they introduced the car cosmetics. This was truly an enjoyable season. Even if we had the charged shotgun instead of the pump, I still messed with it. And I know mobile players for Apple have been stuck with this season for a long ass time, but I do wish that I had an Apple iPad pre-installed with Fortnite so that I can play this season whenever I wanted to, man. There's just something about the summer vibes that this season nailed and did better than any of the other Chapter 2 seasons. But now moving into our second entry, coming in at number 2, we have Season 3. Space theme and story finally began with a shining comet in the sky. Simple, and sometimes that's all you need. Peak Fortnite, and for a reason. Every location on the map, it was perfect. Gameplay was well balanced, updates were on point every time. The battle pass was pretty good, must I say more. Yes, we are playing it now in Fortnite OG Season 3. Does it have the same level of hype as it did back then? No. But you want to know why? It's because we already ran through Season 1 and Season 2 recently in OG. And did that get a lot of hype? No. So why would Season 3 OG get a lot of hype? And yes, I'm putting this at number 2. So you would think that the Fortnite OG mode would be killing it, right? Because that was the peak of Fortnite. But still no, because people won't really give it a chance. And then when we move on to Fortnite OG Season 4 and Season 5 and Season 6 and so on and so forth, everyone is going to miss Season 3. Mark my words. But that's only the number 2 entry. And out of all these seasons that we mentioned on the list, there's still one that we haven't talked about yet. And that is the number entry. And that is the number 1 entry. Coming in at number 1, we have... Bro, can we get some intro music? Coming in at number 1, the best season in Fortnite history, we have Fortnite Season OG. We got to Chapter 4 Season OG from a time machine and started us back where we all began, the Chapter 1 map. Jonesy tried to fix that time machine to stop the black hole from happening again, but you know that thing still hit again because Fortnite wasn't trying to give us this for too long. They hated fun. I mean, come on now. Chapter 1 Fortnite into one season. You are playing through almost every season of Fortnite in just one season. Of course, the updates are going to be peak. Drastic updates every week, taking us all the way to the very end. Peak player count of all time this season. It was so incredibly hyped up, and it justified that amount of hype. Looking at you, Chapter 5 Season 4. Most people can agree that this is the best season of Fortnite ever. The gameplay was fun and it was exciting, and guess what? It was pretty simple. But I'm not saying that Epic has to be simple all the time. I'm just saying that simplicity works a lot of the time. It is pretty hard to put aside nostalgia for this one because a lot of this season was a nostalgia grab. But biases aside, this season did prove that OG Fortnite is still good. And simplicity is really what most people want in the community. Not everyone, but most people. This was the reason why Epic brought back Fortnite OG as a game mode, but it doesn't hit the same as this. There's a lot of debate if Fortnite OG was good because of nostalgia or gameplay, and I think that you could honestly make an argument for both. Regardless, it's going to be very hard for Epic to ever top this season again, which is why it's sitting at number. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our long ass list for ranking and explaining every single season in Fortnite. Please just do me a big favor and drop a like if you enjoyed. I would greatly appreciate it, and I would love to do another video like this so long as it doesn't end to me. Subscribe while you're at it too. Join the channel. I work really hard on these videos. And if you would like to use code TrulyMystic in the item shop, I would greatly appreciate it. I want to thank all of you for watching. Let me know down below, how would you rank these seasons? And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have a wonderful day or night. It's TrulyMystic. And until then, peace! 1 hour long video, bruh.